Konnichiwa, Japan fans. Today's show, we're going to talk about trust in sales. Eigo desu. それでは行きましょう. So let's get going. This is the 5th year of the Sales Japan series podcast, broadcasting around the world from the Beverly Hills of Japan, Minato-ku, here in downtown Tokyo. It is chic central. I'm your host, Dr. Greg Story, Dale Carnegie Tokyo franchise owner, the president of Dale Carnegie Tokyo Training, and the 3-time best-selling author of Japan Sales Mastery, Japan Business Mastery, and Japan Presentations Mastery. I have my new book in Japanese, Zaeigyo, and very shortly my latest book called Stop Wasting Money on Training will be available on Amazon. In this podcast, I want to help you to survive COVID-19. Don't forget to subscribe and share this podcast with your family, friends, and colleagues. We are not being sponsored by Libsyn, but we value your privacy, which is why we have our podcast hosted by Libsyn, who, unlike many other podcast hosts, have a strict policy that does not allow access to your private information by anyone. Here is our daily podcast lineup on iTunes. Mondays, the Cutting Edge Japan Business Show. Tuesdays, the Presentation Japan series. Every second Tuesday, the Business Tatsujin no Oshie Show. Wednesdays, the Sales Japan series. Thursdays, the Leadership Japan series. And every second Thursday, the Business Pro Podcast Show. Fridays, the Japan Business Mastery Show. And Saturdays, Japan's top business interviews. This is episode number 306, and today we're talking about trust in sales is everything. I had been busy, so setting this appointment had been difficult. Eventually, we found the day and time to meet. I asked for the address, and the text note mentioned the building, and I knew it well, so all good to go. Except when I arrived there, the entry registration desk people said there was no company of that name in the building. I checked my text note, and sure enough, it specified this building. I did a quick search of the company name and found the right building, but now I was late. I texted the person I was meeting to explain why I would be a bit late. The person I was meeting called me, apologized, and 10 minutes later, we finally got to meet. Now, getting your own office building address wrong when meeting the client is quite strange. And as the subject of this conversation was going to be investing my money, the trust factor had just taken a big blow. Being a flexible Aussie, these types of small things don't bother me particularly. I've messed up meeting appointments too myself. Getting a call at lunch asking where you are for the lunch with them is always unnerving. It doesn't happen very often, but you feel really bad when it does happen. I've been guilty of forgetting a meeting too, so I am not one who could run around saying I'm perfect. Nevertheless, I was curious about how they're going to recover from this debacle and try to rebuild the trust. We had met once on Zoom, and he had wanted to meet me in his office face-to-face. I get that, because as a salesperson, I prefer that too. Having made a big deal out of meeting in his office, I was a bit surprised to find that this was one of those executive floors run by a company who specializes in providing high-end space to companies who don't have their own offices. The trust goes down again. Is this company solid enough? If they are solid enough, why don't they have their own office space? How big is this company? In this case, he needed to explain why they're in that executive floor and not in their own premises, but there's no thought to mention it. He could have said their company policy is they prefer to give back value to the customers through the lower fees they charge rather than making a building landlord rich. by spending money on expensive lodgings. That explanation would have made a lot of sense because I know I'm making my landlord rich, leasing the entire 5th floor in my building. I'd be able to identify that logic, but again, another trust building opportunity missed. The rest of the rebuild attempt was perfunctory at best, I would say. Apologising is a good start, but you have to do better than that. Forgetting your own building is inexplicable, but you have to explain it anyway. There's no point in trying to move on in this situation because unless that trust is restored, there won't be any business flowing from this meeting ever. He needed to use storytelling to flesh out that his mind had been preoccupied with an important meeting where he was closing a huge deal in the first building I went to, and somehow that preoccupation was so strong at the time of his text reply to me that without realizing it, he had just mentioned that building by mistake. This will only get you there partially, though, and you need to do more. Find out more when we come back from the break. Our show today is brought to you by our public programs, but we also do custom-made in-house classes. Now, we do them in our super safe classroom, we do them live online, and we do them in Japanese, and we do them in English. Our show today is being brought to you by, on the 14th of October, we're doing our Winning with Relationships selling program. Excellent program. It's the whole sales model you need, plus it talks about the relationship because it doesn't matter how good your product is. If the relationship with the buyer is not done well, you're not going to sell anything. You know, if you're not able to build a trust with the buyer, you're not going to sell anything. So that relationship building component and maintaining it is absolutely critical, which is a bit ironical because that's what we're talking about in today's episode theme about trust. Now, on the 22nd of October, we're doing our flagship Dale Carnegie course, excellent program, how to reduce stress so that you can be operating at your maximum potential productivity, how to build the people skills, how to work on your communication skills so you're persuasive, how to have your leadership skills working for you, and how to work on your mindset so that you're prepared to step up and take accountability. On the 2nd of November, we're doing our high impact presentation course, 2 instructors, everything video, 2 days in the main modules. Brilliant program. I love teaching this program because people come in on day 1, they go out on day 2, totally changed. So from an instructor point of view, the results are immediate. It's before your very eyes. Afternoon of day 1, they're changing. Big time. Big time. Love that program. Check out our website, www.dale, Dale-Carnegie, CARNEGIE.co.jp. Get my best-selling books, Japan Sales Mastery, that's the Bible for selling in Japan, and Japan Business Mastery, and my new book, Japan Presentations Mastery. And they're all available on Amazon. If you like learning by watching videos, then we have over 1,000 there for you at Tokyo, Japan, Dale Carnegie TV on YouTube. Welcome back. Now, at the very end of the meeting, you hand over his corporate brochure and information on the firm without explaining any of it to me and just suggesting I read it for myself. He should have segued from his initial apology straight into extolling the virtues of the firm in order to re-establish credibility for his company. He was in a hole and he had to get himself out of it. Spending time at the start with the firm's USPs, unique selling proposition of the company, was the better move. But he didn't do that, though. So an opportunity lost right there. He needed to walk me through the highlights of that corporate brochure and rebuild the trust. If the trust isn't rekindled, am I even going to bother reading the corporate brochure? Will I just bin it when I get back to the office? During the meeting, he made a point of differentiating the fee structure from a well-known competitor, making the point that certain charges they were applying were unfair to the buyer. The only problem with that construct is that he used to work for that competitor for many years. And so what about all of the clients he took care of who were getting unfair treatment? In this case, he needed to make the point that it was company policy. He never agreed with it, and that is why he left that employee, because he didn't feel the way the customers were being treated was correct. That is understandable and acceptable. However, just dissing the rival to make the point you are more trustworthy than them isn't enough, because the fact remains that he still worked there, and the implication is that he was happily gulling customers at that time, so why should he be trusted now? In this case, he really needed to draw a line between the activities of the previous employer and where he works now, and explain the different philosophy which applies in this firm. We all screw up from time to time, but we have to have a mindset established and some protocols designated to rebuild a trust. We cannot give the same canned presentation we've given 1,000 times before in these cases. And yet think on our feet and concentrate on doing everything we can to rebuild the trust and get out of the hole we've dug for ourselves. If we don't succeed, then we have missed the chance to do the deal. We will have missed it forever, because this client will have mentally removed us from the list of possible companies to do business with. Forever is a long time. So we have to work really hard on the recovery. Thank you for joining the Sales Japan series. If you found the program useful, please work on your karma and share it with your family, friends, and colleagues. Don't forget to subscribe and share this podcast. Immediately apply what you've learned today. Use it and go out there and survive. Remember, I'm your corporate coaching and training guy in your corner, committed to your success here in Nippon.